If you were given the responsibility of leading a new community, what would you do? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, spent his first months in Medina as a guest at the house of Abu Ayyub. When he and his new community completed building their masjid, he moved out to live in a small room. The structure of the masjid included adjacent rooms for the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. That would be his home for the remaining 10 years of his life. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, focused his attention on building the foundations of the new Muslim community. After years of persecution, harassment, and torture in Mecca, the small Muslim community could now finally live in peace. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, made brotherhood and sisterhood the main foundation of their relationships. It was a unique community founded on altruism and brotherly love. It was a type of love never witnessed before and never to be repeated in human history. What would you be willing to give up? Would you be willing to give up half of your wealth to help refugees arriving in your country to settle down? Well, this is what the new converts of Medina did. They shared their wealth and homes with their new brothers and sisters in Islam. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, made a pact of brotherhood between them. He chose for each man from the Muhajirun a man from the Ansar to become his brother in Islam. In total, around 100 pairs. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, established wise pacts of brotherhood and sisterhood, which were win-win relationships. The Muhajirun had left all of their wealth and their belongings behind in Mecca. They needed work and financial support to start their new life in Medina. And that was what the Ansar offered them. On the other hand, the Ansar were new converts to Islam. They needed to learn what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had preached in Mecca for the past 13 years. So the new brothers in Islam shared everything, their wealth, their knowledge, and their experience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised the Ansar in the Quran for their altruism and amazing generosity. He says, "As for those who had settled in the city and embraced the faith before the arrival of the emigrants, they love whoever emigrates to them, never having a desire in their hearts for whatever of the gains is given to the emigrants. They give the emigrants preference over themselves, even though they may be in need. And whoever is saved from the selfishness of their own souls, it is they who are truly successful." One day, the Ansar came to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to offer the Muhajirun, those who had just arrived, half of their lands. Can you imagine that? A gift of half of their lands in Medina with all of their date palms and trees. This amazing generosity reflects the description and the verse I just shared with you. The Prophet Muhammad made dua for them, but refused to accept their generous gift. Instead, he said the Muhajirun should perform the manual labor on the land and then share their produce with the Ansar. With this wise plan, the Prophet, peace be upon him, made sure it was a win-win agreement. He established a solid foundation for fair partnership deals in business and was always on the side of justice. These sound work relations further enhanced their bonds of brotherly love. Justice and fairness were always salient features of the Prophet's leadership style. That's why they were so successful, combined with abundant love and altruism. There was an amazing case of Abdurrahman ibn Auf, a companion from Mecca. He specialized in business and trade. The Prophet Muhammad had made him the brother of Sa'd ibn al-Rabi from Medina. So Sa'd offered him half of his wealth, but Abdurrahman refused to accept his generous offer. This is what happened, which is narrated in a hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. Abdurrahman said, "When we came to Medina as emigrants, Allah's apostle established a bond of brotherhood between me and Sa'd ibn al-Rabi. Sa'd said to me, 'I am the richest amongst the Ansar, so I will give you half of my wealth. And you may look at my 2 wives, and whichever of the 2 you may choose, I will divorce her, and when she has completed the prescribed period of waiting before marriage, you may marry her.' Abdurrahman replied, 'I am not in need of all of that. Is there any marketplace where trade is practiced?' And he replied, 'The market of Qinuqa.' And Abdurrahman went to that market the following day and brought some dried buttermilk and butter. And then he continued going there regularly. He traded on a small scale for the first days, and then his business grew. He made a good profit and was able to make and save enough money to get married. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, approved of what he did. He prayed for Abdurrahman, who became one of the richest people with the blessings of the Prophet's dua later on. So amazing altruism and generosity from one side, and independence and hard work from the other side. This community where love, brotherhood, altruism, sharing, and caring prevailed was to become the best generation of all times. Under the leadership of the Prophet, they were able to do miracles in the span of 10 years. Then after the Prophet passed away, they were able to convey Islam to distant lands with amazing speed. They reached faraway countries in Asia, Africa, and Europe in record time. Many non-Muslim historians continue to be amazed by the speed of the spread of Islam around the world, but the real secret can be found in Madinah. A divinely guided leader, God's final prophet, and his sincere followers who deeply loved Allah, his messenger, and their brothers and sisters in Islam. Finding a good friend in today's world takes time, and finding a true brother or sister in Islam often takes more time in the fast-moving societies in which we live. But it's not impossible. So if you're a new convert to Islam who has not yet found a close Muslim friend, keep trying and don't give up. Sisterhood among sisters and brotherhood among brothers, where love for the sake of Allah prevails, are the most precious relationships. If you are in touch with a good Muslim friend, that is a great blessing. So do your best to upgrade your friendships to a relationship of brotherhood or sisterhood. New converts to Islam need support, and born or old Muslims today should resurrect the Sunnah. As a Muslim community, we need to multiply our efforts to cement our relationships with the bond of brotherhood and sisterhood. And we need Muslim leaders and imams to follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad with creative plans to make those relationships multiply. Now, what happened next in Medina? More events will be detailed in the next part of this series, inshallah, so please stay tuned.